I've been an entrepreneur. I've been a franchisee. They both have pros. They both have cons. Let's hash it out. Should I buy a franchise or start my own business from scratch? This is an awesome question. I can't wait to make this video. I hope that you stay all the way to the end to hear everything I want to say about this topic. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell because I'm pushing out tons of great content just like this video, and I don't want you to miss any of it. All right, so let's talk about starting a business on your own as an entrepreneur versus investing in a proven franchise business. So the entrepreneur, number one, has to have an idea. A lot of times people come to the idea of a franchise simply because they say to me, I don't really have an idea. I'm not opposed to starting a business on my own. I just don't know what I would go do. Then you have to figure out how to bring that idea to market. So there's a lot of trial and error that goes into figuring out how to make money, such as clearly identifying who the customer is and what that customer will respond to. Figuring out what the messaging is, what the coloring is on the marketing that's going to attract that customer avatar. You have to figure out how many of those customers you need to build a positively cash flowing business. Now, there's a lot of guesses that's going into that work. It's not an impossible task, but it's a very, very big undertaking. In fact, the easiest people to lead to franchise investments, in my experience, are former entrepreneurs. Former entrepreneurs who have cried the tears and sweat all the sweat. They have toiled for endless hours to try to bring a brand to market and to try to become a wealthy business owner. They're the easiest people to lead to a scalable franchise investment. So this entrepreneur is out there all on his own, figuring out everything that he needs to figure out, maybe assembling a team of people around him, but that costs a lot of money that a lot of entrepreneurs don't have. Therein lies why 90% of startup businesses fail. As you've heard me say in other videos, that failure statistic, that 90% of small businesses fail before their 5th anniversary, that is not a statistic that's owned over here in the franchising world. We'll come back to that in just a minute. So 90% of the 90% of businesses that are failing simply because people run out of money before they ever really figure out how to make money. So it's not that entrepreneurs don't have great ideas. I mean, look at the show Shark Tank, right? How many great ideas come on to Shark Tank and they're looking for money? But on that note, let me give you a little hint if you're thinking about going on Shark Tank. Watch the show a few times before you bring your product onto Shark Tank. It makes me cringe every time I see these entrepreneurs getting on the show and they have no sales and they have massive evaluations that are clearly based on nothing and they're asking for all this money and the sharks are just like, no, no, no. That's a free tip. Okay, so entrepreneurship has its place. Look, we would never have new franchises if we didn't first have entrepreneurs, because every franchise business starts out as an entrepreneurial investment. If you're one of the lucky ones that has proper capitalization and a good model that you can bring to market and turn it into a successful business, more power to you. But the average person that comes to the idea of wanting the freedom and control and financial stability that business ownership should create does not have the heart for entrepreneurship. And this is really where franchising can win. So when you step into a franchise, you are buying into a proven business plan that comes with a ready-made toolbox. So this ready-made toolbox includes that marketing that's perfected that will attract that customer avatar. This ready-made toolbox comes with a working capital fund. So there is a myth out there that franchises are more expensive than entrepreneurial ventures. But I would argue with you all day long, franchising is not more expensive. That's actually what it costs. So when the franchisor says, hey, you need to have $50,000 set aside in working capital for your first year of marketing, that's because they know that it's going to take you about $50,000 to get that phone to ring enough times that you then have a positively cash flowing business. So you're buying down the learning curve of starting a business by partnering yourself with people who've already figured it out. They're giving you this toolbox and you pay for all of that with your initial franchise fee. Now, the franchisor is going to be able to train you, so you don't have to have industry experience to be successful. You don't even have to know how to own a business because the franchisor can train you on that. So the idea in franchising is that you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. That entrepreneur over here, he or she is all alone, working it out day at a time, trial and error at a time. Over here in a franchise, you are never alone. You have the franchisor and the entire family of franchisees that are there to support you, train you, mentor you, and even cheer you on. And another advantage of the franchise model is that you can build your asset faster than an entrepreneur typically can. Because entrepreneurs are starting businesses typically where they are the center of influence, they're leveraging their network, their idea, they're the ones bringing it to market. It takes years and lots of money for entrepreneurs to be able to get out from underneath that and scale it to where the wealth can really be created. Now, most business owners in both worlds understand that wealth is always created through scale. So over here in the franchising world, I can take a franchisee who has the dream to scale to multiple units, and within a few years, he or she can have multiple units up and running. Because no one location needs the owner in it, because in franchising, owners work on it, and they hire to the experience of the business, meaning that their manager and their teams of employees will work in the business while they work on the business. They can be focused on growing through scale and achieve that scale in a shorter amount of time. Another great advantage of franchising over entrepreneurship is the resale value. Look, as the Daily Coach, I coach all of my candidates to consider their exit strategy. Before you even invest in the franchise, I want you to know what your potential exit could be. So franchise businesses sell typically for higher multiples than their mom and pop counterparts. Why? Well, because there's more proof. Because the buyer coming in doesn't just have to take your word for it. There's a whole bunch of other franchise locations where they can validate the earnings. They can validate everything that you're saying about your business by talking to all these other franchisees. And that gives that incoming buyer more confidence that the value you're placing on your business is legit and that they too can step in and take it from that level to the next. And that's why franchise businesses will often sell for higher multiples than their mom and pop startup counterparts. So, as your daily coach, of course, I'm way biased toward franchising. I've been both. I've been an entrepreneur and I've been a franchisee. Prior to 2020, I knew that I'd always be self-employed. But I didn't know if I would always own franchise businesses. After 2020, I know that if I ever start another business, that I will be connected to a strong franchisor partner. Because when the doors of businesses were closed and owners got into emotional and physical fetal positions and didn't know what to do, I sat back and watched unprecedented leadership from my franchisor friends as they helped their franchisees by getting them PPP loans, by helping them to safely reopen their stores. I watched these leaders help these business owners get out of these paralyzed states, reopen their doors, and not just get back to barely surviving, but I mean learning how to thrive. I watched adaptations happen in some business models that will forever change how that business will be done. Franchisors who were willing to look up at the opportunity rather than down at the obstacle in front of us all. I saw how collectively we are so much stronger together than we are individually. Now, God bless those entrepreneurs who figured out how to reopen, who are better for 2020. But 2020 helped me to see with real clarity the true value of a franchise. It's the value that I've been preaching for nearly 20 years. When you invest in a franchise, you are not investing in a widget or a brand. You are buying people. You are buying leadership. After 2020, I know that the absolute number one reason to invest in a franchise is for leadership. During your due diligence process, it's imperative that you find a leadership team that has a vision for a brand that inspires you, that you look at their track record of success and say, okay, their past performance gives me confidence that they can take this brand where they want it to go in the future. That these people that I'm talking to are the kind of people that I want to call my business partners. They're the kind of people that I want to learn from, grow from, that I want to be friends with. So finding a franchise investment is so much more than finding a brand that you want to bring into your community. Your success depends on the leadership of that organization. And I would challenge you to go out and find people who inspire you. That is the number one reason that a franchise business will survive in tough times. It is the number one reason why a franchise will go on to become the next big American brand. If you are ready to begin your franchise investigation to find the next big American brand backed by a leadership team that inspires you, then I want to be your daily coach. I encourage you to follow the link on the screen below. Please contact me. My team will reach out to you within 1 to 2 business days so we can schedule an introductory call. And if you've enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell because I want you to see every video that I'm putting out.